Today is June 17th, 2023, and I would like to bring you this day in history. British General Thomas Gage lands his troops on the Charlestown Peninsula overlooking Boston, Massachusetts, and leads them against Breed's Hill, a fortified American position just below Bunker Hill, on June 17, 1775. As British advance in columns against the Americans, American General William Prescott reportedly told his men, "Don't one of you fire until you see the whites of their eyes." When the redcoats were within 40 yards, the Americans let loose with a lethal barrage of musket fire, throwing the British into retreat. After reforming his lines, Gage attacked again, with much the same result. Prescott's men were now low on ammunition, though when Gage led his men up the hill for a third time, they reached the redoubts and engaged the Americans in hand-to-hand combat. The outnumbered Americans were forced to retreat. However, by the end of the engagement, the Patriots' gunfire had cut down nearly 1,000 enemy troops, including 92 officers. Of the 370 Patriots who fell, most were struck while in retreat. The British had won the so-called Battle of Bunker Hill and Breed's Hill, and the Charlestown Peninsula fell firmly under British control. Despite losing their strategic positions, the battle was a moral builder for the Americans, convincing them that patriotic dedication could overcome superior military might. The British entered Battle of the Bunker Hill overconfident. They had merely guarded Charlestown neck. They could have isolated the Patriots with little loss of life. Instead, Gage had chosen to try to wipe out the Yankees by marching 2,400 men into a frontal assault on the Patriots' well-defended position on top of the hill. The British would never make the same mistake again. Now I'd like to bring you another This Day in History. On June 17, 1885, the dismantled Statue of Liberty, a gift of friendship from the people of France to the people of America, arrives in New York Harbor after being shipped across the Atlantic Ocean in 350 individual pieces, packed in more than 200 cases. The copper-iron statue, which was reassembled and dedicated the following year in a ceremony presided over by U.S. President Grover Cleveland, became known around the world as an enduring symbol of freedom and democracy. Intended to commemorate the American Revolution and a century of friendship between U.S. and France, the statue was designed by French sculptor Frederic Augustus Bartholdi, who modeled it after his own mother, with assistance from engineer Gustave Eiffel, who later developed the iconic tower in Paris bearing his name. The statue was initially scheduled to be finished by 1876, the 100th anniversary of America's Declaration of Independence. However, fundraising efforts, which include auctions, a lottery, and boxing matches, took longer than anticipated, both in Europe and U.S., where the statue's pedestal was to be financed and constructed. The statue alone cost the French an estimated $250,000, more than $5.5 million in today's money. Finally completed in Paris in the summer of 1884, the statue, a robed female figure with an uplifted arm holding a torch, reaches its new home on Bedloe Island in New York Harbor on June 17, 1885. After being reassembled, the 450,000-pound statue was officially dedicated on October 28, 1886, by President Cleveland, who said, "We will not forget that liberty has here made her home, nor shall her chosen altar be neglected." Standing more than 305 feet from the foundation of its pedestal to the top of her torch, the statue, dubbed "Liberty Enlightening the World" by Bartoli, was taller than any structure in New York City at the time. The statue was originally copper-colored, but over the years it underwent a natural coloring process called patination that produced its current greenish-blue hue. In 1892, Ellis Island, located near Bedloe Island, which in 1956 was named Liberty Island, opened as America's chief immigration station. For the next 62 years, Lady Liberty, as the statue is nicknamed, stood watch over more than 12 million immigrants who sailed into New York Harbor. In 1903, a plaque inscribed with a sonnet titled "The New Colossus" by American poet Emma Lazarus, wrote 20 years earlier for the pedestal fundraiser, was placed on the exterior wall of the pedestal. Lazarus' now famous words, which includes "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free," became symbolic of Americans' vision of itself as a land of opportunity of immigrants. Some 60 years after President Calvin Coolidge designated this statue a national monument in 1924, it underwent a multi-million-dollar restoration, which included a new torch and a gold leaf-covered flame, and was rededicated by President Ronald Reagan on July 4, 1986, in a lavish celebration. Following the terrorist attacks of March 11, 2001, the statue was closed. Its base, pedestal, and observation deck reopened in 2004, while its crown reopened to the public on July 4, 2009. For safety reasons, the torch had been closed to visitors since 1960 after an incident called Black Tom explosion, in which munitions-laden barges and railroad cars on the Jersey City, New Jersey waterfront were blown up by German agents, causing damage to the nearby statue. Today, the Statue of Liberty is one of America's most famous landmarks. Over the years, it has been the site of political rallies and protests from suffragettes to anti-war activists, has been featured in numerous movies and countless photographs, and has received millions of visitors from around the globe.